Ben, before we go, I do want to talk about Deontay Wilder's video tonight, where he accused Tyson Fury of cheating. What did you make of his comments?
Speechless. I don't know. Couple of things. Is he? I'm gonna like to think that he's doing it, thinking that that'll be the approach for him to sell the trilogy if a trilogy is going to happen. The other option is, or the other thing I'm thinking is, the problem is, and I'm not saying this is exactly what's happened, but top fighters end up with this entourage around them that just tells them whatever it is that they want to hear. And not lose sight of reality, but if you've not got nobody around you to give you an honest opinion, how are you going to have a real valid, normal perception on things and on the fight, etc., you know?
Those are the words of Ben Davison as Ben Davison reacts to Deontay Wilder's video, where, of course, you know that he felt that he was cheated. He felt that Tyson Fury had some in his gloves. Mark Breland, you know, indeed spiked his water, and then called the fight off. A lot of other stuff, man, you know. So he's speechless because he doesn't really know what to come of it. And the way I'm looking, because I watch people's body language, right? And I'm looking at Ben Davison and I'm watching the way he's acting or whatnot, and he's just kind of like, okay. Like, what are you really talking about? I don't know what to really say or how to handle what Wilder said about Tyson Fury. Now, you might ask, why is Ben Davison relevant in all this? Because what people don't realize is that Ben Davison, of course, was Tyson Fury's former trainer, and he was with him the 3 fights that he fought in 18, including the first Deontay Wilder fight. Okay, so that's where he comes in. And you're thinking like, okay, well, this happened after the second fight. Well, what happened? Guys, people, fanatics of Wilder started going back and looking at Tyson Fury, and they started examining Tyson Fury. And they saw things that they claimed they never saw, which has been debunked. You know, you can say, oh, we never seen nobody flick a jab. Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali, a lot of people do that shit. Bob Foster, a lot of people have done that shit. Okay? And I had an interview where I pretty much debunked it myself. You know, and then that was Glovegate 1. So that included Ben Davison. Okay? And these guys didn't catch Tyson Fury cheating the first fight. Well, that just shows incompetence. We've already talked about that. But then the second fight, he loses. And ain't it convenient for someone to lose, then all of a sudden all this stuff is now right in your face. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you guys didn't have a problem when he was flicking the jab in Wilder's face to stay back from Wilder, because that was the game plan that Ben Davison implemented and they worked on. And to the most part, Tyson Fury executed it. Okay? He didn't have bleeding or cuts everywhere, but then they added it to it, and it showed me desperation. How? Because you mean to tell me Wilder he has a high tolerance for pain, but Wilder didn't feel any of that shit if it was a fucking egg white in it. So they were trying to say that he had something in there besides whatever the substance is of the glove, where he was flicking it and keeping Wilder back at times. Sometimes he would sit down on that jab, but most of the time he was leaning in like Ali or Holmes, used to do back in the day, and it was flicking. And it did kind of put you in the mind of like something like a tennis ball in there. Well, if that was the case, if he cheated both times, let me break that down. If he cheated both times, why wouldn't Wilder fucked up like that the first fight? But see, what people don't want to admit is that maybe he didn't cheat the first fight. You don't want to admit that though, because that's something that you guys are believing in. That's like the Old Testament. You know what I mean? And then the New Testament already began. You know what I mean? We coming into Revelations and things like that now, because of everything are now starting to unravel and be explained and this, that, and the other. But no one could explain why he wasn't all busted up like he was in the second fight as the result of taking punches from a person that was supposed to be cheating. So if he was cheating, how was he cheating? What was he cheating with? Oh, it was his fist was in the glove. His fucking fist would have fell off. And a lot of people that said that, like young Pharaoh and all these guys, even Aki and all those cats, they're not fucking boxers. I don't even know if they've even laced on a pair of gloves or know what the fuck a glove does and how a glove reacts. Counterpunch. They're casual fans. They like the sport of boxing. I like the sport of boxing, but I've actually fucking boxed. So when you say you have your fist in your glove, in that wrist area, and you flicking that shit's going to fall off and it's going to look foolish. Right? And it ain't going to help you no damn way. You're slapping somebody like a whipping effect. If you're that scared of a guy, that's the only way I could see if Tyson Fury was cheating in the first fight, how that would be beneficial. Just like I explained to Tate Jones in the interview that I conducted on my other channel, Counterpunch Boxing News Round 2. Okay? So with Ben Davidson saying, well, you may be trying to sell the third fight, maybe he is. Maybe that's his way. Maybe he let the boxing channels run away with what he's already leaked out and then let that catch on slowly like a slow fire and then just roar. And then, now you got the whole fucking house burning down. Maybe he wanted it like that. Maybe not. I don't know. But at some point, since the house is burning down, since it is such big news, hopefully he can get his fight. But at what cost if he did that to sell the fight and only to do that to sell the fight? That means you fired a man for no fucking good reason. If that's the case. Counterpunch. You fired Mark Breland because you couldn't take that L. You pulled a Andy fucking Ruiz, and you fired Manny Robles because you didn't admit. You admitted to other people, then you went and, I'm gonna fire you. Wilder too proud for that. He ain't gonna blame himself at all. He gonna blame somebody else. Just like Andy Ruiz did after the fact. Okay, so he pulled an Andy Ruiz. It was just worse. Because at least Andy said it was my fault to the public, then went back and then stabbed Manny in the back and told him to get the fuck out of here. You're fired. You're terminated. Right? Wilder didn't. Wilder blamed everyone else but him. You see how that works? But that's the only thing that I can go with. Or he just thought he was cheated. And, and he doesn't want it, and we're going to go to court and all that. So, and we've already done a video about that. So, it is what it is. So Ben Davison, that's his reaction. You guys tell me what you think about Ben Davison's speechless reaction. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.